Hey y'all, I'm Tess Holliday, and welcome to my slumber party. Each week, I'm going to introduce you to folks who are making the world a better place. So put on your pajamas, grab a snack, and let's change the world from our bedroom. Hey y'all, welcome to my slumber party. I am so excited to have you guys hanging out with me today, and I am even more excited to have my guest with me today. I want to introduce you guys to Maddox. Maddox is an Afro-Latinx queer sex worker and was recently in season 2 of Netflix's Bonding. And I say this in every episode, but I really mean it this episode, is a good friend of mine. Maddox, hi.
Hey, babe. How are you? I missed you so
I've
much.
missed you. I can't even believe that I get to have you as a guest, and I'm thrilled that I get to see you, but also so sad that it has to be through Zoom and not IRL.
I know. Fashion Week's coming up too, and we haven't hung out since 3 Fashion Weeks ago. It's been
Yeah.
forever.
Well,
And so much has changed. Oh,
it has. So like Maddox mentioned, I go to New York every fashion week. And for the last few years when I would go, Maddox and I met on Instagram years ago. Like, I think that you have been following me since I started, if not right
since your
after.
Tumblr
Yeah.
days, bro.
Yeah.
What? Test Monster days. What?
Yeah.
Like,
So
what?
Maddox has been like so incredibly supportive, and so we've had our kids together. We have we've been through like a decent amount together, and Maddox has always been supportive of me, not only online but in real life, and is just a phenomenal human being. And I am so happy to have you, and I just can't wait to share your story with everybody.
Oh, babe. Well, I'm really fucking happy to be here.
So we are going to jump into what we're wearing because unironically, we are on the same wavelength. Maddox, tell everybody what you're wearing.
Oh, this little comfy thing. Obviously, what I wear to bed. Obviously,
Yeah.
I wear my falsies and red ass lipstick, and push up bra and a little leopard robe. Oh, and leggings. I absolutely wear leggings to bed.
Yes.
No, I don't. I hate wearing much to bed. But yes, this is what I'm wearing today. All Kmart, Target, whatever specials. Who the hell knows?
You've got, for those of you listening and not watching on YouTube, Maddox has a leopard robe on, and I have on a black push-up bra as well, a zebra robe, and I have bike shorts on because I was gonna wear
Yeah,
my
buddy.
It's funny. Two reasons why I have these bike shorts on. One, I was going to just have underwear on, and I sent a photo of myself to Maddox before this. And we realized we were wearing the same thing. We both sent like sexy videos and photos back to each other because that's what
Oh
friends
yeah.
do.
It's the job perks. It's the job perks.
It is. And I put on bike shorts because I didn't want to walk down to my studio in my underwear, but also Maddox is not only, a phenomenal human in a bunch of areas that we're going to talk about, but when I met you, you were super into cycling and biking, and so I was like, I'm going to put these bike shorts on to
Yeah,
remember
buddy.
that.
Hell yeah, buddy. And yes, I was a bike messenger and advocate out here in New York City, but I was one of the only fat girls on a bike, and there was barely any clothing options back then. So you wearing bike shorts is like, yes, we made some progress. That's what's up.
So our snack for today, I told Maddox to pick. What is our snack? I see you have some Reese's over there.
Oh yes, yes, I am on the rag. So fucking Reese's, and this is an empty bag, so it's literally just to show you that this is what I
No.
because I ate them already, obviously.
So our snacks for today, we are both menstruating right now. So for those of you listening, you're welcome.
You're fucking welcome.
I started today. Like I was getting dressed and I was like,
Please tell them the story. Please tell them the story. It's insane.
because I was getting dressed and, went to the bathroom. I was like, oh, great. I
Oh
started my
no.
period. This explains why I was crying and listening to Bon Iver on my drive this morning. I'm listening to Mission Can't crying. Chris is on the bed rolling around laughing right now. Sorry, Maddox is on the bed rolling around laughing right now because Maddox is no,
No, because I see it. I
yeah.
just see it
So
happening.
I'm like playing Bon Iver, going to take Bowie to school, and I'm like, why am I crying? So I start my period, and then I text Maddox this like selfie, this like sexy selfie. And what do you tell me when I text you?
Oh yes, I'm like, our original plan had fall through because I'm on the rag, so my original look fell through. So now I look more like you, and I'm like, okay, awesome. And then you say,
Yes. So I was like, great. I started my period. And then you're like, great. I'm on mine too. And we're both like, of course, we're wearing the same thing.
of
We're both
course,
menstruating. I got peanut butter M&Ms. So same wavelength as
nice.
you, and ginger ale. And I got a coffee because I have no, I'm like hyped on the inside, but I need it to show on the outside. So
Oh
just
yeah, got you. I got you. I also got because my husband is the best. Some edibles here that are also Reese's flavored. So
wait, what? What kind of
yeah,
Maddox and I are
they're
both stoners, so
yeah.
what
Oh
is
yeah.
in these?
These are Cookie Monsters treats, Reese's Pieces,
God.
um, 50 milligram tiny little baby cookies.
My tolerance, like you're a OG, I'm playing catch up. But yes, we are 420 friendly in this household. Um,
Oh yeah,
so when I
because we would murder if we weren't.
we would. We would. I mean,
Murder.
we I was I was like writing, writing the questions for today, and I have talked a lot about, my dating life and the fact that I'm dating. And I was texting, Maddox last week we were texting and a little bit over the weekend. And funny enough, I was complaining about kind of just like dating and boundaries and like the issues
Mhm.
that I'm kind of coming up against because I'm new in the dating world. And Maddox, being the amazing human you were like, I get this and we need to save this for the podcast. And I had just finished writing a note about dating and staying in in my power and having healthy boundaries and intimate partnerships because it's something that I feel like you are really good at. And then you said it at the same time. So again, same wavelength. Um,
Blue pussy.
so
But
how do you
also, because we're cancers, so that cancer shit.
It's
Ugh,
real. So Maddox,
hell.
like you're for those listening and watching, you work in the sex industry. You have a husband, you're poly, you have a whole ass family.
Hmm.
What how do you make it how do you do it, girl?
How
Because
do I do it? How do I do it?
I know that
I get
there's
asked all the time.
I mean,
Um,
I don't know how you do it.
and my immediate answer is just boundaries and communication. I want to say that as cliche as it could possibly sound, but that's really, it's really what makes it happen.
How,
Of course, things are a little closed because are way closed thanks to the quarantine and all that. But before that, we it was like trial and error, a lot of it. You know, maybe messing up. No, definitely messing up. Definitely messing up.
Well, when you say mess up, like how, like obviously we all mess up and it doesn't matter whether
Yeah,
you're, polyamorous or monogamous. And for those of you
right.
listening that don't know what polyamory is, do you mind explaining, like just basically telling people what
Sure.
polyamory is?
Sure. I'll give you like the very basic understanding of it. It is like the ability to care, love for, and I guess be with more than one person at a time. Ethically.
Ethically. So
this is, it's all about ethics here.
yes.
There's also like things like ethical non-monogamy, polygamy. I mean, the umbrella term is really just like non-monogamy. That would be the umbrella term, and polyamory falls under there.
And and thank you for explaining that.
Mm-hmm.
I was married for a long time. Um I had a lot of polyamory stuff pop up in our relationship because my ex was polyamorous when we met. And even though my understanding was that we were in a monogamous relationship, uh, th- my relationship was a very good example and a very good learning situation for me because it was not an ethical polyamorous relationship. And it like for so long, I thought that my issue was with polyamory. And then I realized,
Mm-hmm.
no, wait,
Yeah.
if I had a partner and this was being ethically done and not just cheating, right? Because then that's what it is. If it's not,
Right.
if you're not consulting your partner and talking to them, then it's cheating. It is what it is. But ethical polyamory, I completely understand, support, co-sign, because for folks like Maddox, and I understand it a bit more now that I'm more removed from it and I have friends that practice ethical polyamory such as yourself. I'm able to understand that it's folks that have a really large capacity for love and that are able to love and be loved in intimate partnerships with more than one person. And it's something that people talk about and there's conversations and you check in with each other. And that to me makes sense. It's the flip side when people I feel like people give polyamory a bad name because of the non-ethical side of it. You know what I mean?
Right. Like society just thinks we're fucking everybody we want to fuck,
Yeah.
and definitely not now. That's not the fucking case. So,
It's not.
and we're frustrated about it. But to go off of like polyamory, it's also not like polyamory looks different to everybody.
Mhm.
I'm in something you call a metamor. So I have my life partner who is my husband, who I have a child with.
Mhm.
No one's gonna come in between that. They've tried. I've always known this is who I am. I'm never been straight vanilla. You know what I'm saying? Like I've always had many crushes at once. And I
Mhm.
always thought like, oh, something's wrong with me or something. My
Mm.
boy crazy, or and then when I came out, girl crazy, because I came out as bisexual before I came out as pansexual.
Yes.
That seems to be the thing, but that's just how it is. And yeah, like I just like everybody, like, and that's cool. That's a cool.
It
It's a
is.
cool attitude to have. It's just navigating that, especially when you're in relationships with other people. That's important. So I have my husband, my family here at home. I have my bottom submissive who is collared, who I technically own. We are not in a romantic relationship. It is
Mm.
familial. It is a BDSM dynamic. It's like that. It's pretty much taboo age play. But we really care about each other. Our lives are, becoming even more intermeshed.
Mm.
They have a romantic partner who is also a sex worker, who is also poly and pan. And I'm not romantically involved with them, even though we are friends and we're cool and we
Mm.
support each other and we're going to make art together, So that's how my polyamory looks like.
Yeah.
I could give you other examples of like, because I have other sex worker friends who have just many girlfriends, who just have many people they're dating and hooking up with, and that's their polyamory.
Mm.
Everyone's is different, and there is no need, and literally it is ridiculous to put one example as the example, and that's how it is in relationships and sexuality and gender identity and queerness. That's how it is
Yes.
in general. You cannot compartmentalize. I know labels make people feel a little more comfort, but also with a pinch of salt. That's all I'm trying to say.
I completely thank you. First of all, thank you for sharing. And you're absolutely right. And I'm glad that you brought in like the gender part and the sexuality because labels are important to a degree. There's a reason why I describe myself when I talk about myself as plus size or as fat, as queer, because those labels make people feel less alone. They that's their community, right? Like they know this person, is into what I'm into, is aligned with how I'm feeling. But with that being said, it is really hard to label and generalize certain things because what's going to work for Maddox and, their family is not going to work for somebody else. So, that is why I look up to you so much because it's so the dynamic that you have, you can't have that unless you are communicating and unless you are setting boundaries. So before I get into asking a million questions of you, I want to know, for my own personal sanity, if if I guess I'm just gonna say it.
Say
There's just somebody that keeps coming back into my life. This person and I have an intense connection. We went on a date, last September. It was the best date I've been on. We went on another date last week. It was phenomenal. The person agreed it was phenomenal. We made out a bunch. It was great. And
nice.
then I don't hear from this person at all.
Ugh.
Like once, I've heard once, which was a week ago. And old me would have just like hit this person up, like, hey, how are you doing? But then I'm like, wait, wait a second. As I flip my hair over my shoulder, I don't need to do that. And also, like, if
Mm-mm.
somebody wants you, they're going to show you. But
That's it.
so what advice, I guess, do you have when I'm feeling like, it's hard for me when I have these deep connections and this kind of
Of
connection I
course.
have with this person is mutual, but it
Um,
doesn't mean that they're not afraid or they don't understand. Like maybe whatever. I don't have time to like convince this
yeah,
person
yeah, yeah.
that
Right.
are, yeah,
We're not gonna dissect it.
yeah. So what do you do? Like for at least boundary setting for your own self because this person's going to pop
Of,
back up. But like this
of
is
course.
now the third time that they've kind of like ghosted me a
Mm,
bit. Um
yeah.
and I'm too cute for that.
No, yeah, you are. We all too cute for that shit. Okay. All of us out here questioning if it's us. Automatically, no, it is not us. It is not us. And I really actually mean that. I mean, it's, if you're here kind of like keeping to yourself, you kind of put yourself out there. That's fucking hard. That's so hard,
Mm,
and someone in particularly your position, you are, in the eye, you are consumed, by the public. That takes a toll on, heart and mind. So going into personal relationships is all, out the gate, it's already so hard because you're already like people,
mhm.
and
Yeah.
I totally get that. And and that just adds to, because us regular folk, ghosting, I mean, grow the fuck up, people. Okay, grow the fuck up. I am an advocate for not answering people until you are mentally okay, because we all have a good breakdown. I got a good breakdown. I can't be fucking talking to people. All right. But the people in my life know this. You got to communicate that.
Mhm.
You can't just like do that anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. Especially since most of us is fucking home nowadays and we are looking at our phone more than ever. You thought we were doing it more. You're doing it a lot before. We're doing a lot more now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, oh, sorry, my phone didn't work, or I missed your message, or oh, I didn't feel it vibrate, or sorry, I'm just seeing this.
He, they
You're
actually
not just seeing this. And from from the horse's mouth. I have read notifications in the drop menu, and I'm like, no, okay, yes, I have. But when you know that someone has opened themselves up to you, showing you intimate parts of themselves, whether they're in the public eye or not, whoever you are, if they know that, fully aware, that means they're also fully aware of what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're fully aware of them not responding and why they're not responding. And we're here rattling our brains, feeling like shit. Like, why is this person doing this to me? I really, really care about them. I thought it was good. I thought it was that, blah, blah, blah. And then, we're left feeling like questioning and like feeling like gaslit or even and it's not fucking fair. All right. And I know there's some people who think it's a big joke, and fuck you. All right. Fuck you, immature fucks. All right. You're going to be married to your hand for the rest of your life. All right. Fuck you with that fucking attitude and that way of life. Okay. No one's going to stick around. You really think they are? Anyway, before I get to it.
So what do I do? So basically, when this person messages me, I ignore him, is what you're saying.
No. Well, I am a fan of giving them a taste of their own medicine. But good on you for not obsessively messaging them, because I've been there. Yeah. Never a good look. But you're also reacting on emotions. You're reacting. You're not responding, you're reacting.
Yes.
So that's where I started. I'm like, let me respond more than react, because I'm an emotional person. I think, I may think with my brain, but when my heart is being hurt or whatever the fuck, my heart's like, move out the way, bitch. I'm telling you, that's just how it is.
Absolutely.
So collect your thoughts yourself in any way you can. Type it out, write it out, what have you. That's part of light work. That's the light work of things. The shadow work of things is making them wait a day or two to respond just because you fucking feel like it. That's the shadow work of things. And do you know what I'm saying? Whatever.
Yeah.
But like those boundaries that you establish within yourself. My friend, actually, Lady Euphoria, just had a lesson on self-domination. As weird as that can sound, but it's basically dominating your own self, like your own brain, your own actions, and rewiring your brain. So in a way, it's like somatic therapy, you know what I'm saying? So rewiring your thought patterns and realizing what you're doing, labeling it, saying it out loud if you have to, and making sure you're just protecting yourself,
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you got to protect yourself and your energy. Your mom, your energy also is not yours. We know how that is. It's not purely our energy when we have a kid. It's
Yeah.
Regardless, you have to protect that energy.
You're right.
And it sucks, man. It sucks when you have to just move on and pretend it doesn't bother you.
So basically, before I move on to the questions, which is next, I think the overall thing of what you're basically telling me is to stay in my power and to preserve my energy, because my job is so demanding, as yours is. Having a family on top of that, whatever your family looks like, it's a lot. It takes a lot of energy. So I don't want my intimate partnerships to be draining, because I've been there, baby, and it's not fun, and it affects every other part of my life. So moving forward, I don't want to be drained from this. And I feel like I sound kind of wild, like even asking this and sounding like I'm chasing this person, because I'm not. I very much know when people are not into me, and I back off. But I think, the problem with this particular person, but also what I've been experiencing, is I feel like sometimes people want me and my energy a bit more than they actually care about the other stuff. So I have to be better at protecting my energy and not just like I don't need to give it away. People need to earn it.
Right.
So
they got to earn it. They got to earn it.
They got to earn it.
And the thing about healing is like, at some point you're like, oh, am I too good for people? Yeah, you know what? You're too good for
Yeah.
regular people because regular people are shit.
Yeah.
End of
Yeah.
story.
Yeah. You're like, period. End of story. So
Period. That's it.
Maddox is a sex worker. And for those listening, how did you get started and what does your work look like now?
So, the baby had just turned about 2 years old. He was almost 2 years old when he got diagnosed with high functioning autism. So I had just gone back to work on the bike that summer. And that was difficult. Oh my God. But I had to stop that because he needed all these therapies and evaluations and what have you and whatever. So I was feeling like, not doing great. I was not doing great. And I saw this episode of Slut Ever, Viceland, and I had Mistress Couple, Mistress Lucy Sweetkill, who are now friends and colleagues. Life is crazy. But it just reminded me like, all right, dominatrixes are still out here? Wait a minute. I've always wanted to do that. My downstairs neighbor was a dominatrix. Huh.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, the woman living downstairs from me I found out was a dom. After my dad died, we got close because I started cooking with her, and it just happened. It just came out, and she like threw a corset on me, and I'm like, yeah, and showed me some shit, and I was already like an alt punk goth whatever girl, so I'm like, I already knew the aesthetic, very much into it. And as a fat girl, I was like, I'm never gonna be able to fit in there. So fast forward to when I see this episode, and I'm like, So I look into it a little bit. The person who is living with us at the time actually knows that world. And it just kind of went from there, Interviewed at a dungeon. I just made my 3-year anniversary the other day.
I remember when you started at the dungeon. I remember literally your first post, like with your corset and like how excited I was to see your journey.
Yeah, because that was the same year as the fashion week that we did together. And
yeah.
I was like, I think I want to do fetish modeling because I don't want to do this regular bullshit. You do the bullshit. I don't want to do it.
I wish I had to do less of the bullshit and more of what you get to do. So
Wow.
For those listening, what's a dominatrix?
A dominatrix is a trusted, dominant guide to the world of BDSM. That's my definition of dominatrix. Because I've come, since I've come into this world, I've realized, the idea of people think of when they see dominatrix is, the boots and the whip and the corset and that's, those are parts of it, but that's not it, So, but a dominatrix is the person in the dominant role of a BDSM dynamic. But a dominatrix could also be a professional dominatrix who gets paid. So there's lifestyle BDSM, there's professional BDSM. I did lifestyle for a while, and it kind of helped me go into pro. So
what is the difference from lifestyle to pro?
Oh, money.
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 So
money.
So pros getting paid. So you are paid.
Pros get paid for their skills and their expertise in the fetish and dynamics of that world. And a lot of that has gotten watered down nowadays. We could think, certain works of literature. And,
we all know what works of literature you're talking about.
Movies.
Yes. It's yeah.
Yeah.
It's I'm obviously, I mean, I feel like I've talked about it a little bit, a tiny bit, but I'm very much into BDSM. And it's something that I enjoy and take part in and whatever. That's probably all I'll say because this is about you. But when I started kind of exploring it a bit more, there is so much healing in it. And there's so much
Mhm.
literature that's come out, especially in the last year. And that's probably because of the books and movies that we will not name that have watered down the BDSM community. But there's so much coming out of it now from within the community where folks are talking, and you're seeing this, like, they're having mainstream conversations about how healing BDSM is for folks with trauma. Have you found that yourself through navigating this world?
Absolutely. Like without a question. And not only me, but my colleagues and friends are also, like they center their work around healing practices, like, and emphasizing that, this is more than sexuality. It's more than people just getting their rocks off.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, it's that too, but it's not all that. And we work hard on educating, because education is key,
Mm,
thanks to so many things. Also, watered down white thin centric versions
mm,
of BDSM and kink and sexuality in the adult industry to begin with. BIPOC Collective is, working proactively towards ending wage discrimination and racism in the adult industry, in porn and what have you. So it's like, we are working hard at that because, and it's not like the vanilla civilian world make it easy. The government doesn't make it easy, Sesta Foster, what have you.
yes.
That, and I came into this world when Sesta Foster was being enacted. So, navigating that's been something, with
Mm.
all the censorship and all the literal war on us. When we're just, trying to live, sex work is work at the end of the day.
It is. And that's part of why I wanted to have you on. And if you feel comfortable elaborating about that more, I'm from the Bible Belt of Mississippi. I was raised very differently than how I ended up. I
Mhm.
don't want to say brainwashing, but I mean, I was raised to think it, was quote unquote wrong or bad. And then you learn it's not. And then you learn the dynamics and I don't wanna say you, I'm saying me personally, I started
Right, right.
learning, what it meant to really decriminalize sex work and why we should do it, and for those listening and watching, you started touching on it, but if you feel like elaborating more, why is it important for us to legalize sex work and also treat sex workers fairly, pay them fairly? Why is that something that we all need to give a shit about?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I'm not gonna rant too hard. I promise. We are out here using our bodies, as they love to use that line. Even though people who work for the city use their bodies, professional athletes use their bodies. I mean,
Mm,
that is such a moot point right now. We're out
yes.
here, public service, face to face. Literally, it's because we still exist in a gray zone. It's dangerous, you know, and a lot of us don't have the access to the healthcare we need, the housing that we need. I could go on, but you get it, and
Yes.
it's a lot of and sex workers are. I know that there's this idea of like, oh, fur and leather and red bottom shoes, and yeah, okay, fine, but let's not forget that those are optics. We are not all out here making six figures.
Mhm.
We're not doing that, so we need to get by. um and how else would we get by without our rights intact and the government backing us up? How is that going? It's not going to happen. There's so many people out here in New York City working towards that. Hacking Hustling. I suggest following them on Instagram if you want to dive into that. Like really dive into that. Mistress Blunt pretty much runs that. She does a great job at that.
And what's the
I just
Instagram
feel,
again?
Hacking Hustling.
Okay.
Yeah, on Instagram. Kink Out is another one that does a lot of advocacy, things like that. SWAP, which is a sex workers. Oh my God, I'm blanking. Crap. But SWAP, SWOP.
Okay.
This nonprofit sex workers. We mutual aid, things like that. BIPOC. I mean, there's a lot of, because we have to look after each other. No one's looking out for us. You know what I'm saying? We have to literally fight like every other group has had to fight to be labeled human enough
Yes.
to get help and to live properly / comfortably. Because God forbid we get that, right? Oh God.
Yeah.
The worst thing. Anyway.
Well, and to kind of
Yeah.
like tie what you're saying, not tie it up, but that would be
No, I know what
that
you
would
mean.
be
Yeah, do that.
that would be very appropriate. I, all of a lot of us consume the work of folks in the industry, and
Yeah.
there's still so much shame and stigma, when your point that you just said is really great, that there's so many industries where we use sex to sell certain things, my industry included. And it's really unfortunate that the folks that are actually, you know, I'm in the front lines literally doing the work
Mm-hmm.
in the sex industry are still, criminalized, murdered, assaulted, all of this stuff
Mm-hmm.
with really no ramifications or justice or solutions, and and especially folks of color. So
Yep.
I really think that what you're doing is important, but also it's important to shine a light on those communities that we all benefit from, but we don't protect.
Right. If you're gonna use us, then involve us. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely.
representation, not in just pictures and TV shows, but like thorough representation. Like, we're there making decisions, frontline shit. That's what needs to happen. And yeah, fashion. There's a book I love telling people to read. It's called Fetish by Valerie Steele. Talks about how fetish and kink and all that was brought into the fashion world, into the music world,
Mhm.
and literally just like put in the public's face. And that's how they got a little comfortable, a little more comfortable with things. And it's only really increased since then, since, well, I'm going to say the 50s, like it's
Mhm.
really only gotten more and more grand. But it has to. And, people are like, why is it so in your face about it? Why do you talk about it so freely? And so, like, you're almost proud about it. Because if I didn't, then it makes it sound like, why the fuck am I doing this? If I
Absolutely.
wasn't proud of doing
Mhm.
this, then why am I doing this?
Yeah, and
Um,
you have to normalize, things like this, because there is nothing
yeah,
wrong with it. And when you like Maddox is saying, when you attach shame to something that isn't shameful, because there's nothing wrong with consenting sex, whatever that looks like between individuals, and then who are you to say what's wrong or bad or whatever? And that's part of the problem, is that America in particular has attached so much shame on something that is just not shameful. What do
right.
you find most rewarding about what you do? Because, my rule for my podcast is that they have to actively be making the world a better place, and that is literally what you do. What do you find most rewarding about the work that you do?
Definitely connecting with people, like definitely the connections I make with people. I'm trusted with very intimate parts of people, vulnerable parts. And I'm not a piece of shit, you know. So I'm not trying to like take advantage of anybody.
Yeah.
So like I really like taking like new people in. I feel like I'm a really good first timer. I'm a really pop the cherry, whatever, however you want to phrase it. Like I'm really good. I feel like because I show the compassion and the empathy.
Mm.
because that's really what makes a great dom. You know, you could look, anyone could look the part, but being a good dominant is, you know, listening, being trustworthy, being understanding, compassionate, empathetic, non-judgmental, of course, because, you know, funny as it, you may not think that there's judgmental people in this part of the of the world, but there is. You may not think there's shitty people on this side, but there is, you know, pro or not, and it's, you know, it's disheartening. But I really pride myself on, because I've come from, you know, being a bullied, you know, really, like, I was just like bullied for everything, you know. I
Mm-hmm.
was just this weird kid, and like, you know, when if I wasn't like laughed out of a classroom, you know, trash was being thrown at me,
Mm.
or people were questioning if I was like a man or not. Like, I know how it feels to be humiliated, degraded, low, and felt like you were like, you're nothing, you
Mm.
know. I may not have fetishized and made that a whole sexual thing for me, like, I don't get off on that, but I understand that there's people that do. You
Mm-hmm.
know, they are out there and they're looking for a pathway and you know, a non-judgmental guide to guide them through those feelings of shame, those repressed feelings of, you know, inadequacy, you know, whether it's to build them up or to just like help them release those feelings. And you know, I may not be a therapist, but you know, like a licensed therapist, but yeah, there's a lot of doms who are, but I do feel like, you know, I have a hand in helping people be their true selves,
Mm-hmm.
because that's something I have been able to keep. You know, I've been able to keep true to myself no matter what happened to me, you know, like throughout all these years. So, you know, and helping people come out of their shell, that's another thing that's really big for me, because like, life is short.
Mm-hmm.
We're not guaranteed anything, you know,
We're
except
not.
death and change, you
Yeah.
know. So there is no, I feel like there is no room for that judgment, that, you know, just that closed-mindedness. There's just no room for it here, you
There
know.
isn't. You're
No.
absolutely right. And you spoke about this a little bit, but how have you seen some of the folks that you work with? How have you seen them transform? And also, you spoke about this a little bit. Do you feel like through your sex work, you have become more confident and you are more comfortable in your skin?
You know, it's funny because I'm definitely at my heaviest now. Well, no, maybe like after the baby I was heavier,
Aren't
but
we all
whatever.
right now?
Aren't we all? But you know that, and that's. But I'm my most successful right now, and I'm making my most money right now,
Mm,
and that
love that.
definitely, that, yeah, you know, you know, and that definitely tells not just my younger self, but that tells everyone like looking at me, whether they know me from before I was Maddox or now. You know how girls get, you know, little girls get labeled bossy if they're
Yeah,
opinionated, if they know what they like. You
I
know,
do.
yeah, bossy. Yes, bossy leadership skills. No, I'm fucking bossy.
Yes.
Okay, and I can be fucking mean if I really want to. Okay, don't make me be mean.
I
But
mean, I'll
if you're gonna
pay
suck,
you if
then I'll
you're
be
mean.
mean. Or you gotta pay me to be mean. You
I'll
gotta pay
pay
me to
you
be
to
mean.
be mean.
You gotta pay me to be mean. So also to answer your question, yes, I am more confident and I'm more secure now, you know, because I'm not gonna lie, I feel hot now. But when I was on my bike back in the day with my crazy hair flowing in the wind and my bike with no brakes, and I was keeping up and passing cars, I think that's when I felt my most sexiest. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be real.
Mm,
Maddox is a super self. Maddox is not my hidden identity. Maddox is that bitch and that soul part of me that came out and was able to grow and bloom and make these connections with people, and by extension show them that they can heal, grow, and be true to themselves, and with me being there, with me helping them in whatever capacity that is.
mm,
um I'm also not just talking about uh these sessions that like dudes come here, get their balls smashed up for like a half hour and then bounce. I'm not talking about those. I don't know what kind of real connection besides my foot and balls besides that. I mean, they're getting off, cool for them. That's fun for me, great. But we're talking about like let's say things like bondage and sensory deprivation. You know, I had a client one time, a female client who I bound in saran wrap and wanted me to, she was not into the hood at first, but with when she opened up more and she was getting to more of that subspace, she felt more trusting and at ease with me. Of course, I don't pressure anybody. Okay. You don't pressure people. No is no. Active consent, ongoing active consent.
Thank
Great.
you.
Okay.
Yes.
So we are here and she's feeling like, oh, maybe she wants to like feel a little more helpless, you know? So, okay. I suggest a blindfold and a hood and she takes the hood. So she's there and she's on a table, you know, obviously she's saran wrapped. I'm just next to her, you know, calmly putting my hands on her, feeling her literally relax because she was very tense coming in. You know, she's a workaholic type person, which, yeah, I don't want it to be cliche, but a lot of people in power positions come see DOMs to relinquish that power, to just like, they're just like, you know, it's like, fuck, I don't want to decide shit.
Yes.
And I totally understand that. Being the top and dominant in my household, I totally understand that. And I'm very proud to be able to, like, again, just be trusted with those parts and honored to be there to witness those parts when I am there to witness them. And I always check in with people 1 to 3 days after our sessions to see, especially particularly intense sessions, like when you're immobile and you can't see or hear a fucking thing. Like those are very intense. People usually need to come down from that. Things like sub drop and dom drop, those are real. Everyone's talking about these different aspects of BDSM and sex work that people don't really understand. You know, like no one is gonna think of dom and sees a person, a woman dressed regularly pretty much with their hands on a person, just breathing with them. That's not what people think is BDSM, is sex work. But it is. It can be. You know, just like polyamory and queerness, gender identity, sexuality looks different to everybody. So does that.
Absolutely. And it's, you know, the more I learn about it, the more I understand, and the more that you realize that the work that you and so many of, you know, your colleagues, that's what they are, you know, you understand that there is a need for this and that it is really important to support folks that do what you do. And listen, I, as somebody that is in power, that has a very demanding job, I describe myself as a bratty bottom. I'm, you know,
I can totally see that. Absolutely.
I'm very much a bratty bottom. I'm, you know, verse when I feel like it, but you know, I understand. I understand it. I get it. It makes sense. And I feel like, you know, folks, I know it can be like a little kind of, you feel like you're not sure, you know, if you want to like, there's a lot of, I think what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of shame and stigma around so many of these conversations that a lot of folks want to explore all of this and don't know how to. So what advice do you have for folks that are wanting to explore this, that maybe they want to hire someone like you? Like I guess, what should they do? Where should they, you know?
Like, where would I point someone when they're just starting to like question everything? Really great question. Yeah, luckily nowadays there's so many resources, so many people that, you know, you could find online who will point you in the right direction, including myself, but also so many other people. It's very important to remember that life it's all about dynamics in life. There's and power exchanges in life, whether you are consenting and aware or not. Okay. So that's a good place to like try to open your mind to it. Try to see, like, point out in your regular life where power exchanges happen or what have you. That's a good place to start. Reading and watching. That's a great, nowadays everything's virtual. So all we're doing is watching. There's plenty of things that not just porn, but like, more educational things out there that you could verse yourself on. But I would definitely watch some like queer modern porn. All right, it is not your mama's porn. Okay, wah, 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 eat, wah, 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 and all that shit, and all that. Oh my god, oh my god. It's not all that. So it's like, I mean, that still exists, and that's funny as hell. I love laughing at that shit.
I do too.
It's so much fun. Places like Queer Porn TV, where you can see film that includes me in it, actually. Queer Porn TV,
Love
Trouble
it.
Films, Crash Pad, Pink Label, Mondo Fetiche. These are all porn production companies, film production companies that are not white, thin, vanilla, heterosexual, cisgendered centric. There's an array of people out there making porn now, teaching sex education. I am so fucking proud to be part of that. Even just a tiny drop in the bucket, I'm just fucking so happy to be that. Because, like, growing up, did not expect this. I had a friend one time tell me, dude, of course, who I used to bang.
Dude, of course.
He'd be like, you're still good. You should go into porno. And I'm like, because I've never seen myself in typical fat female positions that we're used to seeing in porn. I've even still gotten like, like, you're too big to be a dom. You should be a sub or something. Like, what? Anyway, I should be out this situation. That's where I should be. Shit.
So what? What is?
What was I saying? Anyhow,
you were giving us a lot of different resources to watch porn and also educate ourselves on the fact that, my work has been centered around diversity, and that is very much what Maddox's work is as well. Part of why I wanted to have you on is because, when you think of unrealistic beauty standards that have been placed on most of us in every area, that also trickles down to porn. And it wasn't until the last few years that even some of this, sexual, sex scenes and like porn and all of this stuff was made mainstream, but also like included queer folks and people of color. And there's nowhere near enough of it at all in mainstream. But, folks had to go start making their own. And as someone that, visits some of the sites that you have mentioned, I encourage, folks that are interested to check them out, because it's really important and powerful to see someone that looks like you and also doing things that you're into that you have been possibly shamed for or didn't feel like there was space for,
or felt like you were the only one, or felt like it was too niche. Listen, man, there's a niche for everything. Okay, I take pictures regularly for some guy who just wants my feet together, and I'm gonna do it for you right now.
Oh my God, do it for me. Okay,
bend over, grabbing my stomach, looking at the like I have I'm taking a shit or something. I don't even know, but that is a regular thing. Okay, like you don't even. Neck fetishes. So I cock my neck all the way back and make it look strong and as thick as possible. And that's also a thing, people. Like, you have to understand. It's like, if you think you're weird and you're alone, You're not alone. You just got to find your other weirdos, guy. You just got to find your other weirdos.
You do.
Community is important. I found my weirdos. I feel great finding my weirdos.
Yes.
Pay for your porn. God damn it.
Yes.
Pay for the porn because it takes a lot of time, effort, skill. It takes a lot to make a porn. I have made a porn. I can tell you, okay? It is tough. It is not exactly what you think. So pay for it.
Yes.
We got to make our money somehow.
We do.
And yeah, I mean, you know how I saw this study recently that porn was how the majority of people have gotten their sexual education. Because this country's sex ed is bullshit.
Yes.
It is caca garbage.
Yes.
And we have to take it upon ourselves as sexual professionals to educate.
Yeah.
Is that a lot of free labor? Fuck yeah, it's a lot of free labor. Is it a lot of like opening yourself up and putting yourself out there basically naked for everyone to look at, figuratively or not? Fuck yeah. It's labor. So pay us.
Yes. I completely agree. So I'm going to switch gears in a second to talk about being a parent and, doing what you do. But before I jump into that, I wanted to ask, because I watched Bonding and you are on season 2 of Bonding, which came out recently. What was it like filming that? And you looked incredible, by the way. You always look incredible, but yeah. What was that like?
Standing there. Thank you, babe. Thank you. Let's see. A lot of fun, man. It was a lot of fun. Cause I was definitely that person, one of those people to complain about season 1. I did so on a podcast with 2 other doms. So
yeah,
definitely that. I was definitely that person. So when the magnificent Tina Horn was like, "Hey, Olivia Troy?" I'm like, "Yeah." Well, she's had, something about trying to gather in real life doms to get casted in Netflix. Cool. So I tried it out, sent my shit in. They get back to me. Awesome. And I think about it, I'm like, oh shit. What if this is bad? What if this sucks? What if my reputation? What if I shitted everything and I just started eating? Because I'm only 3 years in. So anyway, of course I question that shit. And I'm like, okay. But I'm gonna be there, so maybe I could say something because I got a big ass mouth. So maybe I could say something while I'm there.
Yeah.
I didn't have to, luckily. Troy did the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Because she's a vet, did the fucking thing. They definitely corrected their mistakes from the first season with, the whole consent and the misrepresentation.
Yes.
They made it more human to make you like, okay, this isn't all fun and games. Shit is real.
Yes.
And it happens real fast. And, that's good. It showed, I actually had a friend, longtime friend of mine, go back to us since high school, love each other. I love that bitch. But she's not, she's vanilla, very vanilla monogamous. Supports me and all that, loves me. But it took seeing that the second season of Bonding to help her understand a little bit more about the dynamics and the intimacy those relationships actually, take the amount of intimacy and trust that takes.
Mm-hmm.
And she tells me like, man, I got so much more respect for that community now. It's like, wow. And you know what? I didn't need anyone else to tell me I look good, because I'm like, that's cool. I look good. Great. I wanted it to hit,
Yeah.
and it hit. And it hit,
It did.
And I think, and I watched it on my brother's anniversary because, I wasn't even going to be able to film it without the help of my brother, R.I.P.
Yeah.
So I dedicated that to him. And, it's just, I watched it on the anniversary and I got a little emotional, because the scene I wasn't in was the day that, it all went down.
Mm-hmm.
So it was it was interesting watching Bonding.
Yeah.
But I tried to keep focus on, okay, Is it repping our community? Is it repping our work? Is it showing literally all the kinds of people involved in this lifestyle? And it did. I think it did a great job. They listened, they invested more money and time.
Yeah.
That's why it looks so great. That's why all the tools and things you see are accurate. That was like a real dungeon. They built a real dungeon in this Brooklyn warehouse for that time. It was great, and it was a lot of fun. I saw familiar faces.
And it's so incredibly important to have, someone like you in a role like that, because you literally sought out. I mean, I know you probably, when you started doing it, weren't like, I want to represent the unrepresented. I'm sure that you were just kind of exploring it. And just like everyone who ends up being some kind of part of social change, that's what that's what you ultimately did. Was you I feel like probably went into the work you're doing with a different, you know, you went into it wanting to do
Like a
something a
different
bit different.
reason.
And then, yeah, a different reason. Thank you. And now, like, it's so powerful because that's going to live forever. There's going to be folks that are very vanilla, like your friend, bless her, watching it and seeing someone like you, and
Bless her heart.
they, and then they're like, fuck, like it feels good to be seen. And I think that that's incredibly powerful, and I'm glad that they included you in the right and meaningful way.
Thank you, babe.
Yeah.
Speaking of representation, because you were one of the first fat models I saw out there,
Yeah.
fat, tattooed, alternative. I'm like, what? We could do this.
Yeah.
What? So that was a lot of fun. That was really what kicked me off. And that was back in the day. That was what, 10, 11 years ago.
Yeah,
So that got me started on my bike blog, when I did that whole bike fashion blog shit.
you did.
And really, I was taught that I represent, just like, I want to say all brown people. All brown people are told, people of color are told that we represent our whole,
Yes.
everybody, and a lot, no pressure,
I know
but
it's a lot. Yeah, I was about to say no pressure. Yeah,
no
right. Yeah,
pressure,
yeah,
so much pressure.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the life of people of color, like,
yeah.
we have to we represent, one person can represent the entire collective,
Mm.
as unfair as that is. So I went into this like, yeah, the motivation may not have been someone needs to look like me. It was more like I went into it to find myself, rediscover myself after having a kid.
Mm.
Just see it, just make my own life and make my own way, and maybe I could make a dream happen, even for a little bit, because again, this is a dream of mine that came true,
Absolutely.
a lot like yours as well, a lot like your dream. So,
Yeah.
we out here, we doing it,
And
babe.
we
But
we are doing it. And the dreams came
we
true
doing it.
because we did the work.
Duh,
So
duh,
don't
work.
yes, we did the work and we continue to do the work. And you mentioned, kind of exploring all of this after you had your little one. And I wanted to talk about that because I know off the bat, just and I'm speaking about myself for a second. I was reading the reviews on my podcast and someone was like, Tess always makes it about her. And I laugh because I'm like, well, it's my podcast and I'm not. So I definitely never want to make it about me, but to like, kind of like go into why I wanted to talk about, parenting and the work that you do is because myself, who I'm a model, public figure, whatever. I do a lot. And I have always been a very highly sexual person online. I am not afraid to show my body off. I'm my heaviest as well. And I'm still, sitting here, in my bra and shorts hanging out with you. And I would have less clothes on if I could.
Woohoo!
Yes, and folks shame me constantly,
Oh
especially
yeah, I'm sure.
after the birth of Bowie, right? And they're like, "Oh my God, you're a mom. Like, this is whatever. And when I was married, they were like, how's your husband feel about it? Not, and I was like,
He
trust
takes
me.
the pictures.
Yes, I was like, trust me, that's the least
Okay,
of our worries.
he loves it.
Yes.
He's the first one to see them.
But it's like you're saying with, with your husband, with your kid, the shame that people put onto me, and this, I am not even in a line of work where to give them a reason, not that anyone ever has a reason to comment on how people present their bodies or what we
Right.
do for work and how we make our money, because it's not your money, fuck you. But I can't imagine what
Mhm.
it's like on the flip side of someone that does work in the industry with a child, with a whole ass husband. So, I wanted to ask you, what are some, people have a lot of assumptions and a lot of stereotypes, and how do you counter those when people, may say things, whoever that would be?
So I definitely choose my battles. I definitely pick who I reply to.
Mhm.
And I definitely thank being a Dom for that because I've learned how to ignore so much better now. So I've been asked this a bunch of times because I tried to keep it separate at first. And I think I did a pretty good job.
Mhm.
But it started really blending in together. Like,
Yeah.
because I was proud of what I was doing. So I wanted to talk about it. I didn't want a whole separate platform to just talk about it because in a way that's also like, oh, I'm still ashamed of what I'm doing.
Mhm.
Like if I want to talk about it where everyone's already listening, tuned in. um and because we have been, this has been part of my life for years, regardless if I talked about it or not, regardless if I posted about it, made sure people knew about it. So coming out at first, I was like, I was hesitant. Took a while. Good old Capricorn hesitance, like, but ultimately, I'm like, I'd rather live freely than not at all,
Mhm.
basically, and I'm prepared for all the bullshit people can say because they've either said it to my face or haven't by now. Uh, I don't really care. They're not here. They're not in my house. They don't
Mhm.
know what's going on. They don't know how dedicated I am to my kid.
For
He's in
sure.
blended learning. He's not in school full time yet, and I don't know when he'll be.
Yeah.
I got to work around him and him being awake while I'm, making my content or taking a phone call or trying to make some fucking money.
Yeah.
So when I started seeing that I was blending in, that I ended up being like, you know what, all right, that's just how it's gonna have to be because this is my life. I'm not gonna hide certain parts of my life. My these kids at some point are gonna know,
Yes.
and they're gonna know, and people are like, oh, but what about what they're gonna know? End
Yeah.
of story. They'll be aware, and that's really communication. That's really all you have to. It's really what it's about. Getting people changing with me since coming out. Absolutely, family, friends, shit like that. But I've definitely you definitely attract more by being transparent and real. What you attract what's meant for you.
Yes.
Not what's not meant for you. Trust me,
Absolutely.
you really do. And like family, people are gonna judge you. People are gonna judge you.
There.
They're gonna judge you regardless. So do what the fuck you want.
Yeah.
Luckily, I have family and friends who know what I do, support what I do, and are like they even love what I do.
When you take the shame and stigma away from things that have no place with those being, they have no place with those even being attached to it. It's so
Yeah,
freeing and it's so healing, and even like your little one, him being able to see his mom, doing something that she loves, that you feel that you feel safe and supported in, and you're able to provide for him is so much more important than a mom that goes to work every day doing something that, is accepted by society, but where she is miserable. And I think for those listening and watching, I want people to hopefully take this away from our conversation that, when you're a parent, your job is to protect and love your child. And however that looks, we all need to respect, and we also need to understand that, you know, a little bit of love and compassion goes a long way, and not to be a dick to people, to just like
Mhm.
mind your business. And I think it's incredibly important you know, to show how empowered you are to your children, because when I think of what I'm doing, I I want my kids to be like, that's my mom. I'm proud. Like,
Right.
and I don't want to have to feel like I need to hide or water down what I do. And obviously I'm not comparing it to what you do, because it's apples and I don't know. I was going to think of a vegetable, broccoli.
Exactly. There you
It's
go.
totally different things, but it's like you said,
But we're also
communication.
in the same boat. We're doing different things, but we're still
Yes,
paddling
we are.
down the same river.
We are.
We're
We,
still paddling down that same river.
we are.
Because people look at fat women, fat parents as they can't do their job properly because they're not fucking thin,
Yes.
and that's bullshit. Because this fat body conceived that baby, rode her bike until that baby was too low at 8 months, and that baby came out 9 pounds, 9.5 pounds. No, I didn't have diabetes, you fucking shit.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
He got a 9 out of 9 Apgar, that boy. Okay. Pain in my ass.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Give me a break.
so
Yes. And I am a whore, if you want to say I am a whore, because International Whores Day, where we take back that word. You know how it is, babe.
yeah.
Like the slut walk. Like,
Yes.
you know what we do. Yeah, well, mommy may be a whore, but her babies will be well adjusted and learned.
Yes.
And if I am empowered, I do nothing but try and empower others. That's just something that comes natural to me. Our eldest just turned 16. He just came out as queer and questioning.
Aww.
So, and he only felt safe enough to do that because we supported him in his art journey.
Amazing.
We crowdfunded and got him like art supplies and a tablet. And he's thinking about going to college, in art college.
So
you gotta support your kids. You gotta support your kids.
You do
End of
have to
story.
support your kids and
Okay.
and listen to them, and give a
Our butts may be out on the internet, okay, and people could see our titties and shit
Yeah.
if they really went digging, okay. But our kids are happy and they're healthy
Yes.
and they're pains in the fucking ass,
Yes.
okay. So that means they're doing all right. If your kid is not a pain in the ass, I don't know.
Absolutely. And listen, the internet tries to come for me constantly about what a bad role model I am, how I'm this, I'm that. But my oldest, who is almost the same age as yours, my 15-year-old is a straight A student, and literally
Yes, he is.
every remark from his teachers are, he's a joy to have in the classroom, such a wonderful, bright kid. And I just laugh because we are raising these wonderful children in spite of folks judging, ridiculing, trying to harm us. And our children are going to be the children that others are going to be like, damn, you did something right. And then,
Right.
so,
Exactly.
so yeah, I'm incredibly proud to be part of that group of you of moms with you that are all and fat and happy and doing our own
Radical
thing.
mom,
Yes.
baby. Radical mom.
Yes. So
you got to radicalize sometimes to
You
really
do.
make a change,
You
That's
do.
how it is.
How do you think that self-love can be a tool for change?
Oh, Lord, yeah. I don't think Personally, I don't think anything would have changed if I didn't start loving myself. And I'm not just talking because it's not just like one instance, oh, I love myself, and then everything for the rest of your life is great. No, that's not how it is.
Yeah.
Because I've had to learn to love myself at different stages of my life.
Yep.
When I was shitty. So anyone who knew me from 2009 to like 2013, I'm very sorry. So when I was very shitty,
Wait, I knew you then.
To when I was trying to get out of my depression and break all my trauma and shit, and found like my bike and found like, the gym, and tried to break out of like the diet industry that really like took a toll out of most of my life. Then I had to learn how to love myself. Then I had to learn how to love myself after the baby. And then of course I did have to love myself as Maddox coming into the adult industry. One of my favorite quotes is, people's opinions about me is none of my business.
Absolutely.
Right? And they don't need to make it my business. Keep it to your fucking self.
Absolutely.
I don't care. Because I'm not changing out here. If I am, it's for the better. Because I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm such a shame. No, I'm not going to turn my back on all this work.
That's very well said. And when you don't choose yourself and you allow others to make you feel like you need to, and to feel like you need to shrink into spaces where you don't belong, then you're harming yourself. Baby. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Hot things expand. You want to be hot, you gotta expand.
Wow, I never.
Hot girl.
Thank you. That's honestly, I'm gonna use that. I will coin you for saying that. Hot things expand. I love that. Thank you for sharing all of this incredible insight with us, and thank you for sharing the incredibly important work that you do with my audience. I know that there's going to be so many people that take away so much from this. And before I know so. And before we go, we're going to play a game because we got to play a game. So
yeah, summer party. What kind of summer party has no games? Lame one.
Yes. So
with just the nerd.
So I took to Instagram and I asked my followers to give me some of their craziest would you rather questions, and they delivered. So for those of you listening and watching, if you want a chance to have your questions read out loud by me to my guests, watch my Instagram, and I will post another one on my stories for you guys to engage with. And you guys have a chance for me to ask one of my phenomenal guests your questions. So Maddox, are you ready to play Would You Rather?
Yes, let's do this.
All right. Okay. So at Cram times 2 asked, would you rather never be able to pet a puppy again or never get the perfect eyeliner on the first try?
Oh, wow.
I hand selected this one for you because you are the eyeliner queen.
You know me and my eyeliner. No. I would rather not wear eyeliner ever again. As much as I love my eyeliner, but I love animals, and if I see a cute baby puppy and then I'm like, puppy. Yeah, it's not going to work. It would have to be eyeliner.
That is a good and solid answer. If I could never pet a puppy again, you would just have to kill me.
Yeah, right? What kind of life? Kind of life is that? No thanks.
No thanks. Not a life I want. At Koala Tay, cute name, asked, would you rather have mozzarella sticks as fingers or mini sausage wieners for toes?
Okay, definitely sausage toes, because if I had to look at mozzarella sticks all day, I'd want to eat them.
At least you can cover
your mozzarella sticks.
I do too. I love mozzarella sticks, and now that I have an air fryer, when I put the mozzarella sticks in the air fryer, it makes me want to cry. It's so good. So I'll tell you.
Love it.
At Dinosaur Dance Party 13 asked, would you
Fun.
rather, really fun, would you rather get a tattoo of your ex's face on your chest or get a tattoo design chosen by an ex? I picked this one for you too.
So both my exes had cute faces. And both most recent exes had cute faces. I'm not gonna lie. God, no, it would have to be a design of their own because
yes,
yeah.
I feel
was an artist, so I guess I wouldn't. Yeah, no, yeah, it wouldn't be that bad.
You're just gonna hope that they don't do you dirty.
But dirtier than they already fucking did. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. At Bits of Mitts asked, would you rather go 2 months without sex or a whole year without masturbating?
2 months without sex
Period.
seems like easier than a whole year without masturbating. Because during those 2 months without sex, I can masturbate.
Yes.
So yeah. There you go.
I completely agree. Yes, I completely agree. All right, and the last one we have is at Naturally Nay asked, would you rather let someone love you how they want to love you or teach them how to love you?
Teach them. Teaching people, you got to teach people how to love you because sometimes people don't know how to love other people. They project their own idea of love onto another person, and that could fuck up a relationship a lot. So, definitely teach.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I wish I could hug you. I'm hugging you through the
squeezing. Hold on, this may be soft enough. No, it's not.
So for those of you listening, Maddox is holding a pillow and squeezing it and pretending
it's not as soft though.
It's not as.
You don't have the boobies.
It doesn't. My boobies will be on you after the second dose of my vaccine.
Happy. Yes.
So thank you for playing. I have one last question for you, and I ask everybody this: how did you show yourself love today?
How did I show myself love?
And it can't be hanging out with me.
I ate this whole bag of Reese's Minis.
Yes.
And my cramps went away.
I love it. For those listening and watching, how can they find you on social media, Maddox?
I'm on Instagram. The Amazon Maddox is my professional page, but Bruja Pussy is my personal page. That's public. I post often. On Bruja Pussy's page, you could check out my link. All my links on mylinks.com/Bruja Pussy. That's where literally I put all my work, the podcasts I've been on, articles I've written, my Night Flirt, my Fet Life, my paywalls, basically my subscription sites, newsletter, what have you. If you want to book a photo shoot with me and you're up in New York and you identify as a sex worker, BIPOC, disabled, a new upcoming performer, model, let me know. I am not charging for photo shoots while I'm learning this year. So that's my contribution. That's about it right now. Queerporn.tv, Mondo Fetish is where you want to, if you want to see, some sexy stuff.
Yes. So I want to thank you for hanging out with me. I love you so much. And
love you.
Thank you for sharing this. And thank you to everyone at home at your own slumber party for tuning in. And remember, if you were listening to this episode, you can also check us out on YouTube. Or if you were watching this episode, you can also listen to us anywhere you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to follow, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts and like and subscribe on YouTube. Thanks, y'all.